Hello, all, and welcome to our latest rendition of Big Game Players featuring myself, Super, and my co host, Banjo. Banjo, how are we doing?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Not been that long since I last saw you, but all good.
You been all right?
Yeah, yeah. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. So, talk to us a little bit about how your week's been. How was Cyprus?
It was lovely. Didn't really want to come back. Had a lovely time. Felt very relaxed. Obviously, ate well. Um, Enjoyed the weather. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Relaxed a bit, and then obviously I saw you Friday when we were at Ascot.
Yeah,
Not, not,
relaxed.
not,
Relaxed
not
is.
quite, not quite the winning day we've had in the past.
Nah, we got a little bit excited, didn't we?
Well,
But
I did.
no, yeah.
There was
Nevertheless,
that one horse I did fancy in the second race, but wasn't to be.
yeah.
Um,
Nevertheless, a good day.
Good day, absolutely. Well, let's look at the week in football and look at some topics that have been sort of on the horizon.
Yep.
We said last week we were going to come back a little more informed on this World Club Cup.
Yeah, done a bit of research.
Yeah, so 32 teams
Yep.
from around the world.
Yes.
12 teams from Europe, six
Yep.
South American teams, four African teams, four Asian teams, four North Central American teams, a team from Oceania, which was Auckland, who God knows why they've gone there. They got trounced 10-0 in one of the scores I saw.
That was
So
against Bayern, wasn't it?
yeah, I bet Bayern were really excited to be playing that game.
Yeah.
And then a team and from the host nation. So 32 teams. On a positive, they're to replace the annual World Club Cup in December.
Yeah. That was initially played, going back years, that was initially played between the winners of the Champions League and the winners of the Copa Libertadores,
Yeah,
whatever it's called, the South American version. But obviously, they opened that up a bit further, and I think they were doing semi-finals and then
seven teams.
final.
It got to seven teams at one
Oh,
stage,
okay.
and then they've now made it 32 teams. But lucrative. Apparently, the winners of this are in for 97 odd million pounds.
Well, that's why they take it. That's why I think they are taking it seriously. And as you said last week, why teams were actually bringing in players beforehand, before the tournament started, because, like you say, a lot of money to be made from it.
Yeah, and obviously now they're finalising the group stages as we speak.
Mm.
And so we'll see where we go with that particular tournament. But
And it's got to be every 4 years, isn't it, as opposed to an annual?
correct, every 4 years. But I still haven't. I followed a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not my kind of tournament. I mean, it doesn't help that my team Liverpool's not in it, so no major interest.
Yeah. So basically, it's they you qualify over points, a scoring system over the over 4 years. So I guess after this tournament ends, then the new process starts for the next one.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm finding it. I've not watched anything. Obviously, I was away, but I'd be finding it difficult to do so anyway because call it maybe a bit arrogant from a
well,
European
it could be
kind of
Banjo that
viewpoint.
you don't see a time in the next sort of 10 to 12 years. Your team United are going to be in it. So maybe,
Nah, listen.
maybe
I,
that's why you're treating the competition with a bit more, you know.
well, I'd say that's a poor comment because I actually was watching the whole, the Champions League throughout this season and thoroughly enjoyed it. So, not sure where you're getting at there because Man United were not in that either.
Okay. Speaking of United, tell us what's going on there this week. What's been the latest this week? What's
um, it's
so
been a,
I've got a couple that I want to ask, and then you take it away. Anana, I've seen Monaco.
yeah. Apparently, he's linked with Monaco. I don't know how true that is. United's also been linked with Emi Martinez
Are
of
you
Aston
hopeful?
Villa. Yes, I'm hopeful for both deals to be done. If I'm honest, um, I think it's quite clear that hasn't really worked for Onana at United. So if he moves on, that won't disappoint me at all. And if we could bring in
I think
someone
you
new,
paid a lot of money to bring him in as a supposed upgrade on the head, but obviously it hasn't been an upgrade on the.
well, that's clearly not worked. I mean, he's had good moments, but he's had many bad moments as well. So that's not good enough. 2 seasons. I think you've always said judge over a couple of seasons with a new signing, and
I'm a firm believer that yes, especially when they're coming from abroad. I think I can forgive one bad season, or a
yeah,
season where they may be settling in and it's a
yeah,
new environment to them, a new league
yeah.
to these players. But I think if they're not, I can't think of many examples that haven't done it after season two and
And
they've gone on to be a success.
especially if the player is a regular start in the team, isn't it? If they're
Yeah.
regular and they're getting games under their belt and they're not performing on a consistent level, then yeah, over 2 seasons is about right. And it hasn't really worked. So I think that is one area United certainly need to improve on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rashford, Barcelona.
Oh, over.
Why are they
He's
even looking at him, Banjo? Because they've got Rafinha still there.
yeah,
Nico Williams has apparently just committed to going there.
yeah. I
What,
don't know. Do they
what's
do
the
they want
deal
it?
there?
I don't know. Are they looking at Lewandowski maybe getting on a bit, maybe playing down the middle? I don't know what the deal is there, but I think he'll be very lucky to go there over the. If you were to judge him again over the last couple of seasons, he'd be very lucky to make that move. But for him to make that move, I'm assuming he'd have to take a cut in his wages as well. I can't see them paying that whatever he's getting at United. It is a gamble. So yeah, I don't know how true that is. I mean, by all accounts, that's his dream move. That's the move he wants from United.
Okay.
But let's wait and see.
And what are the news from United these days?
Well, well, as a link with Rashford, Garnacho's not in United fans' good books. He's stuck on social media. He had a picture of him taken wearing a Rashford shirt. You may think that's not a problem, but it was actually an Aston Villa one. So,
I think Garnacho's
you're just
safe to
thinking,
say
what the hell?
Garnacho's time at United is
Gone. I think it's done.
closing, drawing to
Yeah,
an end there, I
but
think,
but I
right?
just don't understand why why do you have to do that? If you're moving, you're moving, and then you got Rashford
Is it
responding
making a
to it.
point to the club?
What's the point?
Well, he feels he's been hard done by. Maybe feels that you guys haven't been so loyal to Rashford either, and maybe it's a show of support to Rashford in a Villa shirt. Is
Why have they been
could
playing
it
for
be a
free?
statement along those lines?
No, the club, they've, they're not at the club, but playing for free, are they? They're getting a good
I don't
wage.
think anyone's at United playing for free.
But anyway, you've got to respect the club. You've got to respect the fans. You just don't do that. It's unnecessary. If you want to move on, you move on. But you don't do things like that because it's unnecessary. I don't see the benefit in it for anybody. And
Where does Anthony look like landing up?
I don't know. He's
Yeah, the good 6 months or so at Betis.
yeah, they
Stock rose.
massively. He did very, very well on by all accounts. Betis want to make that deal permanent or get him back on loan, but again, the wages is a bit of an issue. But um, other clubs could be interested as well. Looking at that, how well he did. So I think that was a. I think he'll be moved on. I don't think it'd be as hard to move him on as maybe some of the others like Rashford or Sancho. So no, keep that. There's nothing concrete as far as I know, but it's certainly interesting.
Speculative rumours, Sancho with Juve.
Yeah, apparently so.
But I've also seen West Ham.
So this is what makes me laugh. You've got Rashford, with a pipe dream going to Barcelona. Then you have Garnacho wearing Rashford's shirt, Aston Villa shirt. Is that what? Does he want to move to Villa as well? I don't get it. And then you got Sancho saying he wants to be free for Man United, and he's going to end up at West Ham.
Uh,
Yeah, you're not really doing much better in any of you, are you? Really, let's be honest. It's not like they're moving on to. Well, if Rashford could get his move to Barcelona, fair enough, fair play. But yeah, he was at Villa last season.
Who finished considerably higher than United, right?
They did, but that's not a step up for me. It's not a step up for me.
No, they're surely a
No.
team that are more likely to challenge for the Champions League spots this upcoming season than United.
Yeah, you could say that, but if you're going to look at it over a 3-4 year period, I could probably almost be certain that United will probably be more likely to bring in trophies ahead of Aston Villa.
Okay. And what's the other news coming out of Old Trafford?
Well, there's been two things which have just
Anyone else
emerged.
been, has Ratcliffe sacked anyone else in the last week?
Hopefully, Ganacho. Watch this space. But um, yeah, no. Apparently, United have increased their offer for Embuemo. Apparently, they've offered more than 60 million now. So let's wait and see what the response is there from Brentford.
Spurs will still be sniffing, no doubt, with Frank.
Yeah, Spurs will be sniffing, but I've read many reports that and before you say it's the money, that his first choice is United. So let's wait and see. I'm quite confident about that one.
Okay.
And Johnny Evans seems likely to remain at the club as to oversee young players' loans.
Okay.
So he'll be part of the process in deciding what clubs are a right fit for certain youngsters to go and play and gain the experience. So that's what's emerged. Other than that, not really anything. It's been a bit of I'd say quite weak, but it started to hot up.
Okay. I want to touch on Arsenal.
Yeah.
I've got a theory,
Oh wow.
and I know people are going to think I'm an Arsenal basher,
You are though.
as possibly been known a little bit in the past, bit of banter and what have you not. But is Arsenal a finish your career type club? I'm not seeing a lot of players that are choosing there as kind of to play throughout their peak and make it like the end destination of their career. And I was thinking about this.
What players did you have in mind,
Well,
or,
it's good that
or,
you asked that because I thought about if I asked you name me two or three of their club legends,
okay,
you're going to tell me Thierry Henry.
yeah,
He couldn't get over the line. He,
no, he
he
went to
couldn't win a
Barcelona
Champions
to
League, so he went to Barcelona.
yeah, yeah,
Van Persie, he
yeah,
he couldn't win a league. He done Anofsky.
yeah,
Went to
and won
United.
and won the league.
At the time, arguably one of their bigger rivals.
Yeah.
Then Fabregas,
Oh wow, yeah.
another player, couldn't get what the big prizes he earned. Off he went.
Vieira
Vieira,
went to Juve.
a bit later in his career, off he went as well. So, but now I'm looking at it sort of in more recent kind of times.
I could counter that though. There was one who did and remained, Bergkamp, but some might say it's because he wasn't that much of a success in Italy with Inter, so
Well,
then he just settled there
correct.
at Arsenal.
He
He
did the
tried it
football
already.
thing. But I'm talking in more recent kind of times.
Okay.
And what brought this up for me the other day is right. It's only a rumor, but a certain Greek journalist who's quite close to the club
Mm.
broke the news, and because Arsenal have been linked with all these players over the
Okay.
last
Yeah.
few months, couple of months,
Okay.
and according to some, they don't need a nine, but to the masses, they need a nine.
I wouldn't say to some.
um,
I've narrowed that down a little bit more.
two,
Maybe one or two. One.
Arteta being one by
Yeah.
although he's probably changed his mind. But then I've seen the rumours with this Sesko, and apparently Sesko. So Gyökeres wants to go to Arsenal, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Arsenal's first choice is Sesko ahead
Yeah.
of Gyökeres.
Yeah.
Sesko is rumoured to say he wants a release clause in the contract, which is literally 20% more than Arsenal are paying. Now, if that's not a player looking to use a club as a stepping stone, I don't know what is.
If that is true, then he is not seeing them, like you say, his final destination, where he actually believes I'm going there.
20% Banjo. He's talking about going there for 60 million. He might
Yeah.
have a 30 goal season, which I can't see, by the way, because I've watched some videos of this guy and I can't see he's a 30 goal a season man. But okay, in a team like Arsenal, they do create and they
They
can
do.
maybe make some things happen for him. Let's just, for argument's sake, say he got these 30 goals in the season, goes for 60 million, and then we're saying a team like Bayern Munich or Real Madrid can swoop in with 72 million and just take him. And the club will have to take it if it's a release clause.
And for him to, yeah, yeah, that's that. Well, if that is part of the conditions of the deal, then you can see why Arsenal have not made it. But the thing is, if that is what he wants, then your argument that players are not seeing Arsenal as their final destination, as where they believe all their dreams will come true. Obviously, that's not the case with Cisco because he actually thinks there's bigger and better places to
Well,
go to move on to after.
I think what it all stems down to, Banjo, when we look at all the hard facts and all is said and done, players, yes, they want to be well compensated and earn money,
Yeah,
but they also want to win trophies.
yeah,
And if they don't win trophies this season, how long before Saliba, Gabriel,
Rice.
possibly Rice, although he's an English boy, so maybe he'll tough it out a little bit longer. Um, then we look at Odegaard. Then we look at maybe Saka. How long before these players start thinking it's not really going to happen here?
Yeah. Well, it depends as well. It depends who comes in for them and how strong they are in wanting to stay at Arsenal. So, for example, if a Real Madrid comes in for, I don't know, someone like Saka, just example, um, if he was winning things at Arsenal and being a local boy coming through their academy, he might have been, no, I'll stay here. This is all I want. But not winning things, then their mind will wander. You start thinking, well, I haven't won anything here. This team is maybe peaked, maybe moving towards the other side of the cycle as it goes, um, and they may believe, look, I'll go somewhere else, go and win my trophies, go and get, especially when it comes to people like Saliba as well. I mean, he's come from France. Why wouldn't he go if someone else came in and he's not winning trophies at Arsenal? Why would he stay
Well,
loyal
the
to the
other thing
cause?
as well,
Yeah,
Zub. So yes, you're right. They're not winning trophies. So how long before these players think, is there a better option out there for me? Big season for them this year, no doubt. This upcoming season, I don't. If we hear any more Arteta excuses at the end of this season, surely even the
yeah,
Arsenal fans will start seeing beyond
yeah.
those.
I think the media and the fans. It's like I've said before in previous episodes. Opposition fans have been, making comments about Arteta and whether he's and his suitability in at Arsenal in going over the line and winning trophies. But now I think his excuses probably won't be tolerated by the actual Arsenal fans and the media. I think will be scrutinising him a lot more this season because it comes to a point where it's like, okay, you've built a good team, you've been fairly consistent over the last few years, but it's clear you clearly ain't got what it takes to take the next step.
Zubimendi.
Mm.
I don't think I've seen a player pimp himself out so much.
What's
He,
actually going on there? He's not even signed, has he?
so I saw 2 weeks ago. He's saying Alonso's his idol.
Yeah, of
And he
course. Yeah,
said
it's like come and get me.
he could never turn down if Alonso
Oh,
came knocking.
yeah,
So he's clearly like hoping. I'll tell you what, Banjo, it reminds me of is Arsenal as a guy have got the girl, pulled the girl in the club.
yeah.
The girl's still scouting around the club looking for another guy, hoping that doesn't have to end up with Arsenal. And now, even to the stage where on the way out, is asking the doorman what he's doing. Um, it's got to that stage now where I think
but you're saying this because who is Zubimendi waiting for now? You're saying he's pimping himself out, but it's
he's still hoping for Alonso. I don't know anyone. He's probably thinking, can I go anywhere but to Arsenal? I don't know. Um, it's it's clearly he's not sort of overjoyed with it. You've got other clubs announcing signings left, right, and centre. There's some, and he did the same with Liverpool last year. Liverpool wasted a whole summer
summer.
window on this
Yeah,
guy, and then last minute he goes, "Oh, my undying love for the club,"
yeah.
and then I think the club did something to like
Or is
annoy
it?
him or something. I don't know, but look, the reality is, yeah, he
Or
clearly harbours aspirations to go to Real Madrid.
to go Real Madrid, or maybe he's actually finding it difficult to move to leave Leverkusen
Yeah.
because it's just like whoever's coming in for him, he just can't make up his mind. He can't find. He can't. He's not making that final decision and saying, "I'm going here." He's not signing anything. What's going on here? It's a strange one. I would doubt it, to be honest. If you're chasing a player and he's not completely convinced that he wants to come, and I'm not talking from a Man United point of view, I'm talking about from a well, it works for any club, but especially in the position Arsenal's in, they've got a strong team. They're playing Champions League. Liverpool the same last season. Why are you not sure?
Well,
Do you would you really want that player?
he's clearly a homeboy Spaniard.
But
Um,
I will doubt if I'm running these clubs or if I'm manager, I'll be thinking I'm not sure I want him in my change room. He doesn't really want to come here. He's
there's a couple of Spaniards at Arsenal though, right? With Marino there, he's got well, obviously Arteta
yeah,
is
but
there.
that's irrelevant. It's the question is, do you want a player who's not enthusiastic to sign for your club?
Well, the Arsenal fans
That's a
clearly do. The ones I speak to, they're still quietly confident they're going to get their man.
I think they'll
Uh,
get him, but what's
it's
the
looking
delay?
like by default at the moment, rather than he's the main choice.
Mm.
So yeah,
Well, let's see. You never know. By our next episode next week, they may have got their man.
we're going to see more. Well, obviously, the window's now opening. We're going to see more,
Yeah.
and you know,
Well, if Alonso hasn't come in the next week, that is.
yeah, if Alonso hasn't come in, which no doubt depends on how they get on in the in
World
that
Cup.
World Club Cup
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
Um, to, I mean, that's generally that there. Isaac, the rumours keep going, but can't see he's going anywhere.
To
Or Liverpool again linked in the last week, but
I can't
it's
see
not
how
looking like he's
I
going
can't
anywhere.
see how anyone can get him. He's by what's his contract there? I think he's got a few years left there.
Yeah,
Newcastle's not in need of the money.
well compensated as well for playing for them, no doubt. I doubt he's short of a
Yeah.
few quid for playing there.
Um, if the only way he moves is if he shows a desire to do so, but he might get priced out of a move as well. That's the thing. It's very difficult to get that player to make a deal like that happen. As he gets towards the end of his contract, obviously it becomes a little bit easier. But I can't see him moving on this summer. But no doubt, many clubs would be interested, and he may even be happy to move as well. But I think for him to go, he's got to really express that he wants to go, and obviously the buying club will need to come up with the funds.
Yeah.
I can't see it. That's a difficult transfer, I think.
Okay.
But you've already spent how much money has Liverpool already
A
spent?
couple of quid.
Yeah, how much more do you want to spend?
Well,
Because Isaac won't be much cheaper than Wirtz, if that.
well, work's obviously done. Frimpong done.
Yeah, Kirkes.
Kirkes as good as done. And then the latest player linked quite heavily is Mark Guehi from Palace.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Any more?
Guehi, I think he's come out and said he wants to do the last year at Palace to see out his contract.
Yeah,
I've my theory on this, and I'm pretty sure I've got this one spot on because Kwanzaa's gone now, but
yeah.
and great business that was, by the way,
30
34
million.
million,
Oh, was it
30,
34?
30 to 34 million,
Wow.
and they've also put a buyback clause in there.
Yeah,
So if somehow he develops and
got an option.
develops at the rate of knots, there's an option. So great bit of business there from the Liverpool owners. Um,
But with the gay one, go
Way
ahead.
I think will mirror Canate. That's my theory. I think if Canate doesn't sign a new deal and runs down his contract, I think Liverpool in turn will kind of
Offset that.
make Guehi run down
Yeah,
his contract.
yeah,
So there's
yeah.
nothing and nothing. I think if Liverpool decide they want to cash in on Canate and get some money this summer,
Then they may.
I think in turn they will go and buy
But
Guehi.
then, having said that, it's also what Palace want to do. Palace may not want him to run down his contract. They might,
Well, there
they
is
might,
that,
they,
that
they may rather make the deal, sell the player now.
I don't see how this is a problem in this day and age. I don't think the
The
powers
money,
with the
yeah,
clubs anymore. If
yeah,
Gueye says I'm not going, he's not going.
yeah,
If
yeah.
he's adamant the only club he wants to go to is Liverpool now, although Newcastle were linked in the past and Spurs, but
They were.
Liverpool seems to be where his heart's set right now. And who could turn down the project going on there because there is a project at Liverpool and quite excited, genuinely excited. On the outside, Harvey Elliott as well linked with going out Brighton.
Yeah, that's a strange one. What do you make of that? Do you think that's a good move for him?
Well, it's whoever pays the money.
Yeah,
It's
but
whoever
I'm
pays.
thinking from the player's point of view. Listen, Brighton have been fantastic last few years, but that is a big step down from Liverpool to Brighton. I think.
It's whether
I know
we've
he'll
got
be
the
playing
Lallanas and the
regularly.
Milners doing the pitching there.
Yeah, but I don't know. That for me, that's a risk for him.
You think that's a risk?
Yeah, he's got himself in the England fold. Um, it's a big. It's a big.
Well, under 21s, he's not as.
Yeah, no, not in. But I get it if he was. He's on an upward trajectory at Liverpool. This is my point. He's not. He's not someone who's really struggling there and just needs game time and this and that. So that if that was the case, then you say, okay, all right, Brighton could give him a new lease of life there. But
Is will 20 games be enough for him though, Banjo, to stay?
no, this is what I mean. No, but
Because he's not going to get 40, 45 games at Liverpool this season.
no, and I understand that. But then to go and do that with Brighton, it's going to be a completely. You're talking about a player who's playing, competing for the biggest trophies at the moment, and for him to go to Brighton, it's going to be completely different for him. But I don't know. It just feels like too much of a step down. I think. I could understand it if it was a Newcastle or something like that, if that makes sense, because they're flirting with a top four and in Europe and everything else that goes with it. Just won a trophy as well. But Brighton, I'm not sure how much better Brighton can get, if that makes sense. But then he'll get his regular football. I think that's a strange one, but let's see.
And I think as a Liverpool fan, I won't lie, I am quietly confident that we're going to have a big season again. These signings have only gone, done nothing
The
to
only thing
change
I will
anything.
say, yeah, the signs are there, but it was a bit. Listen, Slot did amazingly well last season. He's come in. He's not. It didn't change too much. He made tweaks here and there, and they won the league. The way he dealt with the players who were about to go out of contract, Trent, um, Virgil, Salah as well. The way he dealt with that and took the and it never, it never derailed Liverpool at all. Um, with all that talk going on, I think he did fantastic. But the thing is now obviously not breaking up that team, but he's that team is moulding into a new team, especially with the new signings, and it could become a brilliant team, and he might do amazingly well. But it's also it can also go the other way
I
because
think teams when they're at the top, Banjo, they need to invest in the
oh
club.
yeah. You have
And in the
to,
past, that's something Liverpool haven't really done.
you have to.
So
But had it been Klopp doing it, I would have been a bit more confident if had I been a Liverpool fan because I'd be thinking, well, this is Klopp's done it before. He's doing it again. He's just going to continue what he's doing with
by
new
all
players.
accounts, though, Slot is highly thought of behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Like you
arguing that
said,
it's not,
he's
but
shown he can handle those egos and those characters.
yeah, I just think it's watch this space. Let's see, because Liverpool did so well over the last few years with Klopp and Klopp's team. Slot's now going to change that, it seems, and it might not go as well. I'm not. It might go. It might be even better. But my point is, you knew what you were getting with the team you've got. You've had over the last few years. You don't know for sure what's going to happen in the future.
No,
That's what I'm saying. So that as a neutral is going to be interesting.
it will be. I mean, look, there's a lot of teams are going to improve. Man City. Be interesting to see
City
what Arsenal
especially.
do end up doing. Man City for sure. They've already started splashing the
Yeah,
cash.
yeah,
It's a new era for them as well with
mm,
what they're bringing through.
yeah.
Then you've got obviously Arsenal. Can they get over that last hurdle? There's
But the
nothing.
big thing with Arsenal, if they could get that striker in,
Yeah,
it could make a huge difference. But let's
absolutely.
see. It's going to be interesting. Even Chelsea. Talking of Chelsea, I think obviously they've got the lap in now. I think if they could get themselves a goalkeeper as well, they could be strong.
I'm going to come out with a bold early prediction for next season.
You're
I
calling
slightly
that?
worry for Brentford.
I agree. I agree.
I think they've lost Thomas Frank now. It sounds like they're going to lose a couple of players.
Yeah,
I've seen Keith Andrews is taking the job.
yeah. He was a set piece
He
coach.
was a set piece coach, and
I remember him when he was a player. Do you remember he played for Blackburn? He played
yeah,
for
literally,
Ireland. Yeah, he was a midfielder.
yeah.
I didn't know too much about him as a coach, if I'm honest. Um,
I think his best stint might have been that I remember him well. That was it was at Wolves, I think, for a little stint, and
yeah. Well,
I,
he must be highly thought of, but I would worry because
I
um,
understand they want continuity, but it's not continuity because a lot of that team's going to get broken up.
yeah, and Frank is moving on, and he's taking some of his staff with him as well. So no, it's gonna be very difficult for Brentford. They've been excellent last 2 or 3 years in the Premier League for for a club of their size. Done absolutely so. I think it was a couple of seasons they spent, but in the Premier League, and they've been comfortable. They've been good, um, but a lot of that was obviously down to Frank and what he's moulded there. He had a knack of improving players.
So
Um,
you, so you
yeah,
think Brentford, United, Burnley?
no, what United? You're not talking about Man United, surely?
Well, I don't know if Amorim can finish what he started there. You never know.
Don't worry about United. They get Embuemo as well with Kuna, new front line,
You think
changes
the glory
everything.
days are coming back, do you?
The glory days will be back
They will be back.
one day. Now let's see, let's see. But nah. Listen, I'll go with you with that with Brentford. I
Yeah.
actually agree. So yeah,
Banjo, next week
yeah,
we're going to introduce our new theme, which we're going to touch on weekly. Blast from the past.
okay,
So we're going to come up with a player that doesn't even have to have been underrated. Maybe he was rated, but maybe he's been slightly forgotten over
okay.
time.
Premier League, or are we going before
I
that?
think we can go better than Premier League. We know enough to go sort of, we'll look at some World Cups maybe. We'll
Okay.
look at some players from countries. We'll pick like a top three. How about next week we come back with our top three Italian players?
It's funny you're saying that because when you mentioned World Cup and how good were they, if that's what I think you were touching on. One did come to my mind. Well, actually, two of now. And
Well,
they're Italian as
save it for
well.
next week. Don't go
I'll
giving
save
any
it for next week.
spoilers
It's
now.
not the obvious one. The obvious one, I think everyone knows when you talk
Yeah.
about World Cup, but it's not as obvious. But I think he's probably thought of as better than he actually was because he had a great World Cup. So
Okay. Well,
yeah. All right,
let's
we'll do that. We'll do that.
let's see who it was and who comes up. So next week,
Oh,
three Italian players, and let's see if we come up with the same players.
three Italian. Okay, let's be three Italian players who. What we did, because like so, three Italian players who
Blast from the past. We're going to come up with
blast
three
from the
players,
past,
slightly
who were
underrated, heroic players that
but might not.
deserve mentions as like three of
Oh,
the
they
best.
deserve mentions.
They
Okay.
deserve mentions as three of the best players. Italy will be quite hard actually, because thinking about it, they've probably got about 10 you could mention, but we're going to narrow it down to top three.
I'm gonna start thinking of. Okay, I was thinking of ones who might have been overrated, but
Well, if that's the case, bring
but
those in.
I'll bring those in. But I'll
Maybe say your top three and maybe mention another two or three that
yeah. Okay.
maybe could and should have made the list and why they didn't. In the meantime, to all our listeners, look, feedback, please, or give us some feedback.
Yeah.
Click the like button, click the
Yeah.
share button, tell your mates about it.
Yeah.
Tell your mates about the two idiots that sit there and talk football with some with some strange opinions about United.
There's
Uh,
only one with a strange opinion about United.
stranger ones about Arsenal. And let's and any topics that you want covered,
Yeah, anything,
put them out there.
yeah, I did. If there's anything you fancy being spoken about, discussed, debated, let us know, and we'll stick it in at some point.
And if anyone fancies coming on the show at some stage, tell us why you deserve to come on. Come and join us.
And then we'll decide whether we'll have you or not.
If you're a good Arsenal basher, that's always a good start. Brilliant. Thanks
Brilliant.
all. Thanks for listening. Have a great week ahead, and we'll see you next week.
See you later. Bye.